This year is such a good platform for moving forward and doing more things for swimrun as a sport and as a community. We want to do what we can to make it an even bigger sport and to help and to inspire us.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boyz, an award-winning swim run podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 157 of the show. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year's.
This is officially year 3 of the podcast. And in our annual tradition of setting the bar way too high for ourselves, we have a great show lined up to kick off 2023. Joining us this week are the 2022 World Champions and the only men's team to ever go undefeated in every event of the ÖTILLÖ World Series in a calendar year. Of course, we're talking about none other than Hugo Tormento and Max Andersson, A.K.A. Team Ark Swimrun Hugo and Max.
Love it.
Very descriptive name. This was a super fun conversation, and we can't wait to share it with you.
But first, training update. The calendar pages turn on. We're still a little bit in off-season mode, but the race calendar is starting to come together, and it looks like our first swimrun event of the year will be in May, which will be at Bend Racing's new Sun River Swimrun in Bend, Oregon. Hashtag West Coast Swimruns. We're all about it.
Yes. Same time zone swimruns. Here for it.
We're there for it. So that'll be in May. And you may have heard and thinking, Bend Racing, that sounds familiar. Yes, we also had them for one of our 4 one water race recaps, and they were a team that participated in the one water race this year. And they were so hooked on swimrun. They're hosting 2 swimruns this year in Bend, so we're really excited to kick off the season in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah.
Now, on to this week's shoutouts.
All right, so in our recent Gear of the Year Awards episode with the Swimrun Labs, we put out a call towards the end, which we're surprised people responded, for gear ideas that don't exist yet, and we got some really amazing responses. I was actually kind of taken away. We'll have details on what the recommendations were or the suggestions were in the next edition of Gear Talk in a few weeks, but we wanted to shout out some of the folks that had great / creative / violative of the laws of physics / genius ideas. In no particular order, shout outs to Katie, Pepe, Brendan, Henrik, aka Swimrun Papa, you know who you are, buddy, Naomi, and Matt. Your NDAs are in the mail, but we're pretty sure that no one cares about the NDAs because
we have the
ideas.
We already have extracted the ideas.
Exactly.
Now we have to profit off them.
But this was great. Thank you so much who replied. And like I said, in a future episode of Gear Talk, we're gonna go into these suggestions in detail.
Yeah, hash them out. I love it. Now for this week's feats of endurance. This week's feats of endurance winner is Vlad. He posted a workout from his native Moldova. He's our first Strava Club member from Eastern Europe, and we're here for it. Thanks for joining the club.
Well, from this Eastern Europe.
From this country, yeah. Moldova.
Yeah.
That's it. Make sure you sign up for the Low Tide Boy Strava Club. Or I think if you're listening to the podcast, you're already in the Strava Club. We're assuming that. Since it's the new year, why don't you invite a member, a friend to come in? You know, we don't overdo it with the swimrun content on there, but we do have over 500 members now, which is really crazy and insane. So join our Low Tide Boy Strava Club and let the kudos rain down upon thee. Now, for the first installment of This Week in Swimrun. Take it away, Chris, from the news desk.
All right. Well, we're going to get back into the swing of things for this segment, but wanted to share a quick update on our plans for the show for 2023. So Chipper and I had a very detailed conversation in his garage, which is where these places usually happen.
Studio
was it my
G.
garage? Actually, I think it was
yours.
my garage. Oh, what's
that studio? Well, that's just an auxiliary studio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the future YouTube studio. Anyway, so last year we focused a lot on our own swimrun journey to ÖTILLÖ, the Swimrun World Championship, with our Countdown ÖTILLÖ series. And while we're planning on heading back to Sweden this year for another bite at that apple if we requalify, we aren't planning on emphasizing our personal journey as much. Rather, we're refocusing on helping grow the sport and showcase why we think the sport is so great and why everyone with any propensity for swimming and running should try it. In that vein, we will be producing more course preview episodes, for races on our bucket list, since living vicariously is the best way that we can hope that we can hope to participating in these events, given our family and work responsibilities. And we'll also be introducing more content specifically for beginners that will be featured in our IG and YouTube feed. So we're really, like I said, we're really about this year. We're going back to our primary mission, which is helping grow the sport in the U.S. and the world.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and we're also taking this direction based on the feedback from you all. So we love to hear feedback from everyone, and the majority of the feedback we've been getting have been around course previews and a lot of sort of beginner stuff about people. Oh, the sport seems very confusing. How do I do it? And the content that we seem to put out is appreciated for that sort of thing. So be sure to give us your feedback on stuff so we can make sure we're serving you all, the listeners.
Yeah. Now for the quote-unquote news. In the bummer department, Odyssey Swimrun recently announced that their Coastal Dunes race, which was originally scheduled for early March, was forced to be canceled due to permitting issues. All registered participants have been notified, and if you signed up and haven't been notified, just send them an email. In other non-bummer Odyssey news, they have open registration for all of their 2023 events, which include Casco Bay, Mackinac Island, Orcas Island, and Austin. If that wasn't enough for you, registration for all these events is now 30% off through the month of January, so you should really sign up. Now, I want to take this opportunity to give a short PSA, so bear with me here. I don't think we've done too many of these on the show.
No.
As someone who's worked in the endurance space for almost a decade, I can tell you that putting on races, and especially swimrun events, is a painstaking and expensive process with very little guarantee of success early on, and most, if not all, races are in effect crowdsourced by registration revenue. So, registering early and often helps make sure that the events that we know and love keep happening year after year. Moral of the story, register for your swimrun events early, save money, and help race directors put on these amazing events. Now,
PSA concluded.
PSA concluded. The more you know. Doo-doo-doo. What was that? The little...
it's going to be in there.
It's going to be in there. Over in Sweden, ÖTILLÖ announced that their Isles of Scilly event will not take place in 2023. They also mentioned that a new race destination will be announced in like 100 days from now. Mm-hmm. There's some countdown happening on their site.
There's a countdown clock on there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Our investigative team is hard at work trying to figure out the destination, and so far we're pretty sure that the event is in the Northern Hemisphere.
And on Earth.
And on Earth.
Yes.
Definitely on the planet Earth. It's happening in 2023, we think. Anyway, more details forthcoming on that. In other ÖTILLÖ news, registration for the 2023 ÖTILLÖ, the Swimrun World Championship, via Swimrun Ranking Points is open. The registration window is open until January 20th. And events will be informed on the first Thursday in February, also known as Swimrun Christmas, February 2nd this year, on whether they'll be spending 9 months obsessing about the Stockholm Archipelago and thereabouts. Finally, you want to hang out and train with one of the best swimrun coaches in the world? Is that something I might be interested in?
Yeah, that's interesting. Chris, go on.
Well, Nicholas Ramirez of Envol Swimrun is hosting a training camp at the Playitas Resort on the island of Fuerteventura, which is in the Spanish Canary Islands, from January 30th to February 6th. Just Google the location, and you'll want to attend. Anyway, reach out to Envol Coaching for more information about that camp. Incidentally, Playitas is where a bunch of Swedish and European folks always go for vacay. It's like this adventure sort of active resort where you can rent killer bikes and,
But I assume the weather's the opposite of what winter is in Sweden right now?
Yes.
Nice. Right.
Indeed it is.
Indeed it is. Now for a little bit of show business. So you may have heard at the beginning of the show, the people have spoken. How many votes were there? Several thousand.
It was a lot.
Several thousand votes were tallied. And apparently we have won swimrun.com's 2022 Maven Award for individuals who have widened participation, awareness, and growth of the sport of swimrun.
Wow.
Well, first of all, thank you to everyone that voted. We're obviously very humbled that our brand of super niche content has an audience and that people find it helpful. But
yeah,
really cool. Thank you, everyone that
definitely
that
bought
voted.
us some runway on the podcast. I think the first thing that bought us a lot of runway was when you were quoted in Adam Skolnick's article after Catalina. I was like, all right, that bought us like 6 months. This definitely bought us another 6 months.
Nice. So our egos are freshly inflated to start off the new year here. And yeah, Now on to this year's first interview with Team Ark Swimrun Hugo and Max, the undefeated champions of 2022.
Yeah. I mean, what can we say about Hugo and Max that isn't inundated with superlatives? They had an incredible season last year. They won every race they entered. I think that's good enough. They also set the course record at ATALA, like
40 minutes or like
crushed the course record is probably better. Here I go with the superlatives. And all the while being great ambassadors for the sport. In this conversation, we chatted about how they teamed up, how they trained and managed to prepare for a busy racing season. We got a bunch of mini race reports from their World Series races, and of course, we had to discuss their record-breaking performance in ÖTILLÖ. As you mentioned at the outset, like I think we've set the bar too high for ourselves. I mean, they're so nice, they're so generous with their time. It was great.
Yeah, it was really great, and we caught up with them last year when we recorded this, and they were actually doing a lot of their. What was the?
It was the Réunion Swimrun.
That's right.
So they were basically off the coast of Africa, just zooming with us and doing a call.
Just
really appreciate it.
So cool, and two of the nicest folks you could talk with, and yeah, we got a chance to chat and meet with them. Obviously, when we were in Sweden there. But this conversation was great. They went out of their way to come say hi to us when we were there at ÖTILLÖ this year. Again, the swimrun community continues to just double down on itself.
If you hear it all the time and roll your eyes, we're sorry, but it's true.
It's just the way it is. So, without any further ado, we're going to kick this year off right, and let's jump into our conversation with Hugo and Max.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Cue the...
All right, so very excited to kick off 2023 with two, safe to say, record-breaking swim runners.
It's very safe to say.
Very cool guys, incredible ambassadors for the sport. Welcome to the show, Max and Hugo.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure for us to start the year like this.
Yeah, I mean, the pleasure is all ours. And what we really want to do in this show is just kind of go through the amazing 2022 season that you guys had. I mean, I think, why don't we start at the beginning? My understanding was that it was at A.K.A in 2019 where you guys were like, oh yeah, why don't we think about partnering up for 2020? So we'd love to hear kind of like the origin story of Team Max and Hugo. Or Hugo and Max. I don't know. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm sorry if I got the order wrong.
You can make it like we do. One time Hugo, one time Hugo and Max. It's the same. It's never the same in front of all the race.
Yeah, but actually the whole thing started. It was actually in Cannes. Yeah, that's correct. But it was 2021, so last year. That was our first race we were racing together. Obviously, we had raced in different teams and fighting against each other during that whole season in different races. But then in Cannes, we decided to team up and try ourselves together for the first time, which turned out very well that weekend. It was a great weekend, a great race. We won it that year and just had a so good time together, I think. Before that, we kind of really didn't know each other. I mean, we had racing in different teams and we had met each other on races and chatting, just as we do in the swimrun community. Everyone is chatting to everyone, but not more than that, I think. So it was an exciting thing just to race together for the first time and starting to get to know each other as well.
Mm-hmm. This is how we first started racing, but it's not how we met it. How things happened, it was like in Gothenburg 2021. Max was racing with Frederick and I was racing with Matthew, and they were both having not a really good day. So they were behind us with the rope on, and we were chasing, both of us, and doing almost all the race next to each other. And on the southwest island where there's like a 6K running something, Frederick started to say to Matthew that it was maybe a better idea to let us go and then team up, and we team up because they were having a and this is for me how it started, because it was a running joke coming from this side, And after the World Champ, where Matthew unfortunately broke his feet, knew he was not able to race anymore for the rest of the season, and I was searching for someone else. And I was talking with Frederick about that, and someone came up at the right point. And Frederick said, maybe it's the right time to try.
Awesome.
Love it.
And that was the first domino to fall for you all for the next 12 months. Every race you entered since Con 2021, you have taken the top step on the podium. And we're talking about Uto, Isle of Sicily, Inkeden, Gothenburg, ÖTILLÖ, the Swimrun World Championship, which we also participated in, just several hours behind you all, as you went and set a blistering world record, new course record on that, just a hair over 7 hours. But I think you're good for under sub 7 next year, right?
We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
I mean,
see.
so yeah, it was such an amazing year, and I'm curious, like, kind of going back, like, how did you guys set your goals? Where you're like, all right, let's try to do the clean sweep of this, or hey, we had a lot of fun in Cannes, and let's just team up. Like, when did you guys have the conversation to be like, hey, for 2020, for 2022, like, what are we doing? Are we partnering up the whole thing, monogamous swimrun relationship? Like, when did those conversations happen?
I think it was like after Cannes, because we did race Cannes first, and after that we didn't decide anything. I mean, Hugo's racing with Adriel on Malta last year before that, and then I think then we had started to have the discussions of what could we do together for this season. And first, I think the World Champs was like the biggest and the most priority for us both. But then we were talking about doing most of the races. I think I was a little bit hesitating for all of them in the beginning. Maybe it was like, maybe not Engadin is not the perfect timing in the calendar if we want to be the best shape in the World Champs. But then when we started and we moved on with the season and it started so well, it kind of... It was the project from the beginning, but I was a little bit hesitating in the beginning. But then it was more, okay, let's try to make it all then. If we have come this far, let's do Engadin as well. And then we did the rest of them as well.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot easier to be convinced when you just start winning them. You're like, yeah, let's just keep going and see how it goes. Is that kind of how it unfolded? Or you had all of them targeted on your season, and you just kept stacking the great results?
Yeah, it's not that in the best way. I mean, Uto was horrible.
Super cold.
Thanks to the weather we had, and in the beginning we were almost about to not cross the finish line. I mean, because of me, I was having trouble in the water with the cold. I lose totally my stability in the water, and I was not enjoying the moment. And then I found out solutions to stop freezing, and then after the shore islands when we were at the furthest point, the last time in the north, that was max. We had quite a bad time over there because it was freezing, and the last part was horrible. We were both not in good shape. We crossed the finish line. We did not take the champagne. We just said thank you for the race, and we've been right through and we stayed with all our gears, so wetsuit, cap, goggles, shoes, in the hot tub for 45 minutes, thinking of maybe we can turn off our goggles. Much better. It was he didn't start the best way, but thanks to that we won at least, and this is how we start everything, and then we say, okay, we've been able to pass through this. What can stop us now?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The cold
Probably
can't stop you.
won't get harder than Uto. That was like my thinking. It won't be as bad as this in any other race, at least. So
Yeah.
it was kind of nice having the toughest one done, the first one.
I just have a visual in my head, just like in the old school cartoons where you guys come across and you're just big blocks of ice, and you just walk and you're like frozen with 2 little feet kind of walking out, and then you just sit in the ice tub and it all kind of melts off of you. That's my vision of everyone racing at UTA.
Yeah, that's very close to the truth.
I mean, it was an amazing way to start the season. Yeah, I mean that race was really challenging. After UTA, I mean, I'm really curious to kind of get like where your mind's at. Like, you're obviously performing at a very high level. You win a very difficult race. At what point are you guys are you already thinking it's like, hey, like maybe we can actually run the table on this year? I'm curious, kind of like where your minds were at, like immediately after that race.
I think we were taking one step after each other. In a way, we were dreaming about this from the beginning, but Max was still hesitating regarding Engadin, and even by my side, I mean, after this race, I was like, I'm not sure. I want to do them all. And I remember in Silly, Silly was the next one, and we've been to these 2 long swims in a row in the beginning. And after the first one, you're just running like 500 meters. And then we came up to Matt, who were just right there before entering the water. And I say, Matt, do we really need to swim this one? Please. I was almost afraid of this because I was already cold, and I really don't want to find again this feeling we have in UTA. And that's why we were thinking of it, but keeping focused on each step to make no injuries, because it's always a thing you need to deal with. Yeah. And so it's not an easy game to do it, so you first stay focused step by step.
I mean, it's even more incredible when you kind of take a step back and you look at, like, it's hard enough to do what you guys did just if it was one person only, but let alone keeping 2 athletes primed and healthy at the peak of their game for the majority of the calendar is really an impressive feat. Was there anything that you all kind of like incorporated into your training to kind of help keep you all healthy and not too banged up? I know, Hugo, you took a spill and I think you hit your head at some point, but that probably was not that was unplanned, I'm sure. So beyond that one mishap, anything you all to make sure that you're staying in the tip-top shape that you can?
Yeah, I think that one of the bigger challenge for the year is obviously to get to the start line to each race, because as you said, a lot of things can happen when you're training much. You can get injured, you can get sick, and it's just a challenge to get to the start line. But I think we managed that quite well, and I think we both are training quite similar, but not together. We're training separately with separate coaches, and I think we are doing our own thing and feeling comfortable in our own training. So I think we're pretty comfortable with that part. But then, I mean, so much things that you cannot control can happen.
Sure. As
you can fall down and crack your head. That can happen, and that's nothing you can do. But I think we had we had a good plan for coming into all races in good shape, or we had a plan for them, at least how we wanted to play them, basically. So we have for every race, we took them one by one, and we wanted to have a bigger purpose for all of them. So for example, in Silly, it's like 3 major runs on Silly, 3 longer runs, which is a little bit similar to the structure of the World Champs course, because you're also doing 3 longer major runs on that course. So on Silly, we had a game plan to swim well, but not push too hard. And then we had to focus on these 3 runs that we wanted to make, really push on them to like try ourselves how that will be when we're doing it, hopefully on the World Champs a couple of months later. And that was the same for all of the races coming afterwards. We have like some kind of plan for the specific race. And I think that helped us to get to the starting line of all of them, because we had a bigger purpose with them. It was not just getting there and go all out and win. It was like, we want to do this, but also winning, of course. That was the biggest one.
Yeah.
I think that helped us get to the start line.
Yeah, a lot. And it helped us also to manage the whole season, because after each race, it was not like, okay, we done a race now. Now we can have beers and take coca and stay in the sofa and do nothing. We were almost running the next day or swimming at least. We were keeping focus on recovering, having good nights, don't do anything stupid. So yeah, we put a lot of things to make this happen.
So after a couple of races, I mean, you know, the year before, I mean, Max, you had kind of a breakout year. You won the super sprint. You have an awesome ÖTILLÖ. Like we're saying on the show that you're sort of on the ascendancy. Hugo, like incredible world championship. After world championship, you're just on this tear. We're just like winning everything. Like, you know, doing all these competitions. Like, when did you guys think that, since coming together, that you guys actually have a chance to put a good show at Worlds, and when do you start feeling sort of confident that you could actually continue this streak?
How to say tricky. I think, by my side, I think we were confident, but we were not sure about anything, because in every race you can just twist your ankle, like Mathieu did in the World Champs 2021. So anything can happen on any race. So we were for sure confident because focused on our project, and we were almost always in good shape. So we took the starts in good mental condition, but we were focused from the beginning to the end, and set a good plan on each of them to try to make things happen, but don't take stupid risk regarding the rest of the season, and just to be able to reach the finish line the way we want.
And then also in World Champs, it's always the toughest race, of course, because it's so many. All the good teams are coming together. For the other races, it's some good teams in all of them, but on the World Champs, it's everyone is adding up, and we had a couple of good teams that we haven't been racing against before this season. Both of the podium teams, actually, right? Both.
Yep.
Kenny and Lars, that were third, we didn't race them. And William and Maxime, that was second. We didn't race them either that season before. So, I mean, it's always coming new teams that you haven't been racing against earlier in the season, which makes it hard to predict because you don't know. But as Hugo said, we were confident what we could accomplish and what we could achieve, and luckily that was enough to be crossing the finish line first.
Yeah, I love that, and it seems like your mental approach is really something that it seems like I'm hearing now is kind of setting you apart. How did you sort of maintain the kind of motivation from race to race? Because, you know, I have this problem that, I finish a race and I'm like, okay, I need a week to just like, you know, drink some beers on the couch and watch some baseball or football games for a little bit, then I'll get back into it. And you all seem like really locked in the entire season. How do you do it? Tell me your ways.
Teach us.
I think most of all is because we love it for sure.
Yeah.
It helps. We love to train even more than racing, I think. In the beginning it was a project that we had in between us and maybe with Ark. And then ÖTILLÖ, I don't know how, but heard about this and start to talk about it a bit, and then newspaper talk about it. So all this kind of pressure helps us to stay focused on and to reach our project to the end. For example, it's mostly after World Champs, because before World Champs, people were not talking that much, but after World Champs, we've seen a lot of things
escalated things after World Champs.
And after the World Champs, like you said, I fall down on my face. Max takes some break in the beginning, and we were not in that much of a good shape. But newspaper were all talking about the streak and the aim goal to win everything. Even ÖTILLÖ talked about it. So we were having kind of pressure, and that's how we put ourselves to to be motivated for making things happen and train well.
We also take it from time to time. I mean, maybe I have more me than Hugo, but I mean, we had a beer just before getting into this interview, so it's not that no one is having a beer. It's definitely focus is the key, absolutely. But sometimes I think it's also important that you like let the mind rest for a bit as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, as much as the body needs recovery, sometimes the mind needs a little bit of recovery as well.
I mean, but 100%.
Focus. 99% of the time is focus.
Yeah, and you know, obviously we can't help but pay very close attention to your Instagram. It's a lovely insight into some of your training and just your lives. But you guys are still really you're out there being active. You might not be crushing a half marathon at tempo pace every weekend. You were out doing a little hike. It looked like you're there with another fabulous swim runner, Desiree. Doing some hiking in the mountains, it looks like, on wherever vacationing area you are at now. But you're just generally kind of staying active and out there, and it might not be at the threshold intensity all the time, but you're out there and you're moving your body, sort of thing. So you're always staying active, it looks like, at least from Instagram.
Absolutely, yeah. Today was an active day. We did 38.5 kilometers with almost 2,000 meters of elevation. In like 4.5 hours. It's kind of long.
Yeah, that deserves a beer.
That's
a beer workout right there for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. So after Isle of Scilly, you have Engadin and you have Gothenburg as sort of the last. Gothenburg being sort of the last tune-up before the World Championship. Now, Engadin looks like that was handled no problem. I mean, some of those videos of those transitions were really amazing.
Beautiful.
So. That's really inspired us to really just try to make our transitions try to be like you guys more than anything. Do you guys practice transition, or what is it about the approach that it just looks so graceful the way you guys do it?
Maybe not. I mean, I think it's always good to practice transition. But first of all, thank you for saying that it looks that good. I mean, the looks of it is not the perfect. It should be efficient, but yeah. If it looks good, that's a bonus, I guess. So,
bonus points for looks.
But we do not. I mean, at least when I train swimrun or when we train swimrun, I think transition is one part to train to be fast in. But I don't do it every time. But sometimes it's good to train because I mean it's not a secret that you can save a lot of time when doing fast transitions, and you can also put pressure on other teams when doing a fast transition. I mean, the transitions it's important because it's those small seconds you can get everywhere. If you are chasing someone and you can gain 5 seconds in every transition, you will get 5 seconds closer to them. But also, if you're trying to open up a gap to someone, if you can get like 5 seconds in every transition, it will be kind of hard for the team behind to catch up. And It's no secret that it's important. I think it's more. I think we find a good way to handle it, and I think we both feel confident in transitions and make it as a. It's part of the race and it's not just swimming and running. It's you need to combine those two as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Chris is referencing this video that I saw from Engadin where I think it's both of you going. And it was just the most beautiful transition thing. Hugo's running like faster than I can do at a threshold sprint pace, but he's taking his jersey off, taking his wetsuit down, putting his arm warmers back on whilst he's running all the way. It was just such an impressive feat. So I have that printed out and it's by my bed now. It's like a poster. I'm like, be like Hugo, be like Max in transition. So that's my goal.
Yeah, this one is really, really nice. And there's also one from Cannes that Rasmus sent us on the first swim. There was a steep downhill, and we managed this one quite very well too.
Yeah, and ÖTILLÖ obviously had really great live footage during the World Champs. We didn't get to view any of it in real time, but I was poring back over the clips just because I was trying to understand what does a 7-hour ÖTILLÖ experience look like. And you guys were just absolutely flying in and out of the water. I mean, it was very impressive. And I think you had some pretty serious kind of training camps or practices, if you will, on the course? Is that how you became really comfortable with those transitions for the world champs, at least?
For the world champs, it's been like 3 years in a row that I'm doing some record on the world champs parkour on summer, and I'm even having a note which with each transition, so I perfectly know at least all the transition, the way in and the way out, and if there is at some point a best way to go out or a best way to get in, and how is the meters just before and just after, and I mostly knows also how each island is. So it helps us a lot to prepare this world champs. So we've been able to choose which island we are keeping the rope or putting the rope away, and are we, when we start to put everything on and be ready to be ready in the right time to get in the water and be fast. For sure, it helps a lot to go there and know perfectly the race course. And even this summer, we've been there together, starting from the first island after the first swim, going into the big swim, and then we've been back by running. And we did it in both way. That was the first time to me to do it in the other way, and it was interesting because you see many things everywhere.
Sure, it looks really different.
Yeah. Like, I've never seen the back of that tree before.
No, regarding the trees, it's not that much interesting, but at least for the way out, when you have to take some decisions, where is the best way to go out or to get in.
Speaking of the world champs, I mean, we, when we saw you guys, it was like you guys were definitely like the celebrities.
Oh,
everyone wanted to shake your hand and wish you luck and everything. I mean, that had to be pretty special where, the community was, I mean, I don't know anyone who wasn't rooting for you guys to have a great race. What was it like just experiencing that from your side of things?
Obviously, it was super cool, and I think it's a really good point you're saying there. Like, I think we have had a community with us the whole time. I don't think we have any negative or anyone haters. Trying to
no haters.
No haters, not at all. I think it's positive words all the time, and people cheering and really want us to accomplish this whole thing. So it's been great the whole year, and on the World Champs as well. It was amazing to have the people cheering for us along the course, and we have both our families on the course as well together. That's following awesome. In a boat from the very start to the end, which was also very inspiring. It was nice to see them when you were swimming and you saw them in a boat right next to you. It was pretty nice. Know that mommy was cheering for you. It's always nice.
Here we are.
Hi, Mom.
It was an amazing feeling having everyone cheering for us. I even told it to my little sister, which was making a live interview for the World Champs for us, live covering. And as she was supposed to do it, we prepare it, and we bring her in the race briefing to meet every guy she was supposed to interview during the race to make more efficient live cast. And it was. She even told me the same thing, that it was impressive. Everyone was so happy for us and like kind with us. And thank you everyone for this. It was an awesome feeling having everyone expecting us to be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Chris and I keep coming back to every time, is just how great of a community that it is. Super positive and just supportive, and it's just a great thing to be a part of. But Hugo, let's talk about the French swim runners that came down. You had a whole federation worth delegation supporting you, all with matching track outfits. I got to say, bonus points for that as well. That was beautifully done. But quite the swim run scene from France showing up at ÖTILLÖ and really putting down some great results.
Yeah, there's a lot of good French team. If we just finish with the ÖTILLÖ part. I think it's the third year in a row we are having all the same sweatshirts. But for this time, it was the first time that we have also the French Federation coming. The Triathlon French Federation, which is getting involved into swimrun. They create a short selection and helping us to be there. So it's helped a lot for the sport, and that's why we are having that much good racers, I think, because the sport is really growing fast in France thanks to that. Because when you want to set a race in France, you need to put some documents to every community and be approved to make a race. And before that, you have to justify yourself why you are doing this and how it is secure, it is not secure. You have to have one guy every 10 meters or almost that. And since we are supported by the French Triathlon Federations, they don't even open the document. They just say, okay, you can go.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that a little bit more, because France, I mean, it's interesting that the Triathlon Federation essentially sort of assumes swimrun and be like, hey, we're going to put this under our authority. And I think on the face of it, that must be like, oh, that looks like a power grab. But what it looks like on paper, I mean, what it looks like in reality, it's like it's really helped really grow the sport. I mean, there's tons of races in France. You saw great results. The first French women's team on the podium. I mean, it was a really great performance. And I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think like other countries should maybe follow a similar model?
I'm sure about that. Because it helps a lot the sports to grow in France. And there is two things. The first thing is the one I've just said. And the second one is that, if I'm right, in France, every triathlon club is forced to organize one event in a year. It's like a rule. But it's not just a swimrun event. It's an event. And previously, they were all doing like duathlon or triathlon race, but they were not getting enough money with that, or at least they were losing money because it's hard to organize a triathlon. And thanks to that, they found out that they were able to win money with their event if they put in addition one swim run. And they've just seen that with this practice, they were able to have some people coming that were not triathletes, are not part of the club, and it also helped them to have some new onboarding athletes coming. And it's really, really helped, for sure, swimrun, but even France being more and more involved in sport. And it's a really good thing. Really, really good thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love that.
It's awesome.
I think it's super important as well for the development of the sport in general. And I think it is the same actually in Portugal. I'm not sure about the details there, but I've heard it's in Portugal. They're also part of the Triathlon Federation. And I think to make it grow in other countries, I think it's it's beautiful with the whole swimrun community growing out of itself, but to become more, if I say, accepted as a sport from other perspectives, I think a federation can help out a lot.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so let's go back to the world to the World Champ. I was about to say the World Cup because that's happening.
Chris is nobody can see this, but he's got his full World Cup outfit on right now.
Yeah, the World Cup has already happened, Chipper. Because,
sorry.
We won't say who won because, anyway.
We won't spoil it.
We'll keep the illusion. So going back to the World Championship, I mean, you guys had an amazing race, obviously set this world record. I mean, Michael was still in the
he was taking a leak.
He was in the bathroom, the wash closet, whatever it's called.
Water closet
over there. You guys were blistering. I mean, can you just give us a short kind of race recap of how the day went for you guys? And because it looked like, obviously it went great, so you don't need to go on this like too long, but give us a flavor of what your race was like on that day.
We can do a short recap. Maybe we can. I can start. We can take over. But just if we start at the very start line, I think we both are very confident that day. We had a good morning, and we started with the first run. All went well until the leading major was supposed to turn off the road and lead us down to the water. Mm-hmm. We first of all, Hugo put on his paddle, and the paddle strap broke.
Oh no!
So we were like with 3.5 working paddles ish. That was like okay. Hugo was like, saying some not nice words when we were running there, and I was like, it's fine. We will manage this. And then you were like, okay, calm down. This will be fine. And then just turning down to the water, we put the rope on, and the first thing almost that happened after we put the rope on was that we ran on 2 sides of one tree.
Oh no!
That's my nightmare.
Yeah.
So we had to go around that tree. But it sounds weird, but I think it helped us a little bit in the first swim because it turned out that the whole pack was going a little bit left on the beach, and we could, since we were maybe I don't know 15 teams back or something, we could take a little bit of another entry into the water, a little bit more right, and it gave us free water to swim. So the jet ski here just beside me, he put his. I was almost start swimming, and I was just following in the back, and so pretty quickly that we opened up a gap on the first swim. So we had a gap, and I was like, "Oh, this is good. I'm feeling confident." After like 500 meters, I turn around and I see a green cap, a mixed team coming closer from behind. I was like, "Oh no, what is this? Someone's swimming faster than us now. Are they bringing any men's team?" But then suddenly they came up to our feet, and I saw that they didn't bring any other teams, but it was, of course, Alexander and Desi that caught us.
Yes.
And so we had company with them for the whole swim. Maybe we should do the other parts of the course a little bit shorter than the first swim. We should have time.
Take as long as you want. This is great.
Yeah.
If we need to make it short and fast, the second thing that happened is that when we've been out on this first island, Max told me, "Give me your paddle. You have to have the good one, and I have to have the 1.5." So we continued this way, and then on the third swim, he lost the half one, and then it stopped. He tried to find it. I'm like, "Come on, we don't care." and then we move on, and I think it helps us a lot also because anything could happen this day. We were always thinking like, "Okay, come on, we will deal with it. Don't worry. Okay, now the game is like this. We were just changing the rules. Only 3 paddles. Let's move on with this. Don't care about the rest." And, it's helped us to stay focused, manage the whole thing. The next step will be the 2 8Ks. I would say we were aiming to push a bit harder, and things been right in the first one, and then the second one, one of our secret angle was to be able to do this way down, way up energy stations without seeing anyone. So that no one continue to push to behind us, because when you see them over there, it means that you are having more than 5 or 6 minutes delay. So
I think that's what George Bialcamo calls mental destruction. When you
we just leave them. You don't even see them.
Just destroy them mentally. They don't even see you. They know your head, but it's like, oh, they must turn the corner. They're gone. Yeah, smart.
Yeah. So that was a good one to have, obviously, because we had that gap from the very beginning, but we didn't really know exactly how big it was. We got some reporting along the way, but you can never be sure. I mean, the team behind you can go really fast, but that was a really good confirmation that, okay, we have at least 5 minutes here on Nemde when we're about to do the second run on Nemde there, which was very good.
Yeah. And then we were about to reach the big swim. And I think that on this small island, just before the big swim, I've told Max 10 times at least, look at your feet. Don't do anything stupid, because it's the main land where Matthew broke his feet. Because
it's like having flashbacks. No. Be careful. Be careful.
Be careful. Don't do anything stupid. And then we managed to do the big swim, and we reached quite fastly Horno. And then for us, it was like a new start. When we create our own strategy, we were focus on those two long run, and then we say, okay, we need to be in honor in this way, and then from there we have to start on a new race and do this half marathon the best way, like if it was the beginning of the race.
And until that point, I think, we both have been feeling really good. I mean, the island before Orna, I was feeling running pretty quickly. I cannot remember who with the camera was following us, but some I don't remember if it was Henrik maybe, who was following us with the live camera. We were running pretty fast there, and everything felt really good. But then when we came to Orna, that was my first mental dip, or not mentally. Mentally felt strong, heart and lungs were really good, but the legs started to get heavy. But we tried to start over and just continue running that as good as we could. And I think we did a pretty good Orna, but it can be done much faster. Also.
That's a little foreshadowing.
Oh, I see. Here, okay. Yeah. You're going to find an extra 1 minute there.
So, and just for folks listening at home, just to put this into context, so the Low Tide Boys, a couple of dads here, when we got to Orna at around 7 hours.
Max and Hugo were done.
You guys were crossing the finish line. So, in case you want to see how mere mortals are doing it versus our guests today, like that's what's going on.
Then we saw our strategy to keep our pace, even if Max was having not the best shape at this point. And we've been to the church, and at the church we have always a lot of people here cheering. And I was focused on this one, and I make it really fast as always. And then I start to run, and someone say, Hugo, Max is on there. Hey, so then I turned. I look back, and I see Max coming. Oh, they were Chewy. He was so
and that was an important point. I think on one of your social medias, there was a point where you guys I think it was after that church, where there's just a little high five. Like Max, looks like your food is full of like chocolate balls. Your mouth is full of chocolate balls or something.
Those were good though.
Just a little high five, and you're like, "Let's go." Was that? I mean, you guys already had the race in the bag, but was that like, all right, like let's finish this off kind of thing, or what was that high five all about?
No, but I think that's a general small things that we are doing when we're racing. Just small things to push each other, to help each other. It can be a high five. I know it's another movie there where we posted on Instagram. I'm like giving Hugo a little bit of a spank in the butt when we jump into water in transition. So I think it's just small to we're here together. Let's do this together. Just
I like that.
Grow a little bit as persons and really make sure we do as a team. But on that aid station, I took a little bit longer, and I had to drink a little bit more and took some extra candies to really get some energy in there.
And the funny part
we're
is
going to do more butt smacking in 2023 for us.
I have to ask my wife first.
Okay, I'll ask her if that's okay as well.
So you guys get you get through Orna, which for us it was a surprise. Like, I think we've talked about this on the show. Like, it's a long run, 2/3 of the way through the race, but it's kind of like it's its own challenge. It's like just the next test, the next section of this test of this race that's super hard. At what point were you guys are like, okay, we got through Orna? Are you guys? I'm just curious. At what point you were like, okay, we have this in the bag. Are we going to try to go for some record? Like, was there a point at that stage in the race where you're like, hey, I think we could do 7 hours or what?
If I remember well, it was not there, because at that point we were just focusing on keeping the pace and managing the situation. And then at the end of this island, there is a short turn left, and you are entering a trail running session. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the little Max, you don't know why, but the gum make his thing, and he was running so fast. I was like, "Oh, come on! you were not good for like 20K, and now you are going so fast."
like, I'm back,
the
baby.
gummies hit. The gummies activated the extra max energy.
Yeah,
They did. They did.
I was laughing at that point a lot. Then we stay focused and we do our things and without thinking about any time. And then we reached the first island that you can find also on the ÖTILLÖ race. And this one, I just watched my watch and I say, bro, it's 6:30.
Wow.
We can maybe do 7:10. Let's do sub 7:10. Can be fine. Can be awesome. So we start to push a little bit more. Then we crossed all the small, really tricky island, and we have Christopher on the side with Danielsen, both from Ark. They were cheering for us with
Very
Christopher's
pleased
boat.
with what's unfolding. I'm sure those two were in Ark suits, nonetheless.
And they were on the side cheering and making a lot of noise, pushing us. And then we reach ÖTILLÖ. And at that exactly point, Max saw me, Hugo, 6:47. You know what it means? And I say yes. Say,
Yes.
You want to I say yes. and then we push so hard.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are dropping some blistering.
There was some heat.
Amazing.
Grabbing some heat.
Amazing how quickly you guys got to the finish line once you hit Uta. And the finish line. I mean, when we saw the replay, many hours later, like you couldn't help but you guys were super stoked, super stoked. I mean, what was it like crossing that finish line and just seeing that time and just being like, geez.
I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, it was the best feeling.
Hugo's getting goosebumps right now.
Goosebumps.
It was the best feeling. I mean, I think also because we had such a good day together, and I think we felt that we did a really good performance, and just reaching that finish line was great. It was a nice, super nice feeling, and I can do it. I want to do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, it's addicting, I guess.
Yeah, it's still hard to talk about. I mean, the aim goal was to be world champ. I mean, it's been a long time since I started swimrunning, and one of my aim goals was to be world champ. And when we went through this finish line, I was like, come on, we are world champ. And I think I still not realized that we are also race recording holder. I'm just focusing on we are world champ and the 701. I'm not thinking of it, or at least I don't realize what it's meaning.
Love it. And Hugo let out a roar like a lion when he finished and grabbed the tape, and it's just such a power. Like go back and watch that clip. Like the amount of just like joy and just. It was just so cool to see that finish line experience for y'all, because everything you just kind of walked us through, you saw it sort of come to the end, and with that you just saw it was just such a great thing to witness, and super happy for you guys. Obviously, what an amazing day out there for you too. Congratulations again.
Yeah, actually, I remember crossing the finish line and
I was roaring like, ah,
yeah, it was roaring
like
like an old lion. And I remember going to Michael, he gives the hugs and stuff, and I was like, oh, the Max and Hugo went, and his look was just like, yeah. It was, I mean, we hadn't seen any replays or anything, and Michael was just like, yeah, it was pretty straightforward. So it was really awesome. And then the award ceremony, I mean, that whole thing was great. We're super happy for you guys. I mean, it was such an amazing day. No one can take that away from you, world champs. After that race, I mean, it's got to be hard to not come down a little bit from those heights. How did you guys get yourselves sort of up for trying to continue to finish the streak that you were on?
Yeah, I took 2 weeks off almost from not from training completely, but I didn't swim for maybe 12 days, and I only did 2 runs, and then I did some biking. But I think it was more of a mental break from training, very focused at least. So I think I was still training, I can't remember exactly now, but maybe 10, 11, 12 hours with some biking and strength training and stuff. So still keeping everything moving, but not just doing what I felt was good for that day. And that I think helped me just get the mind a little bit of rest. And then I was pretty... I wanted to get started again. I was looking forward to start training, and I did another swim run back in Sweden with Adriel. And then sadly I got sick after that race for 4 or 5 days. And then after that I could start training properly again. But then it wasn't many weeks until Cannes, and it felt a little bit short of time there, to be honest, to get in good shape. So yeah, I did some good training the 2 weeks before Cannes, but 2 weeks is not enough to get in good shape. But yeah, I was keen to start training again, just after that break. Absolutely.
How about you,
Yeah,
Hugo?
but totally different. I mean, first week I took it almost off, but like the in France, the sport is growing a bit fast, and media are getting interested to it. So I almost have 2 weeks with interview every day, because I'm also coming from New Caledonia.
Yeah.
So I have both French media and New Caledonia media talking. So I had to manage with this, and then I've been back to training because I was in need of it because of all of this. I want to have some sports back to think of something else, and then put the pressure away. And that's where media start to say, okay, they're going to make it and they're going to win everything this year. And it helps also to go back to training. Because when you have your name with on the live TV show saying they are gonna win everything, then you stay focused.
Yeah.
And and then 2 weeks before the ÖTILLÖ Cannes race, I fall down on my face and I almost break my half of my face, and then I was forced to take some rest for 48 hours, 2 days, I would say. And after these 2 days, I get sick. I got stomach issues. So I did not get out of my bed doing almost 48 hours again. Just to go to the toilets, but nothing else. So I was not trained and completely out of battery from Monday morning before the race on Saturday morning. So it was a quite stressful week. Even more when we knew that the French guys were there, and they are really, really fast in a flat ground running. And Cannes is a fast race, so we were not that much confident in this one, I think.
Well,
but it also... Sorry?
No, it's funny because I remember seeing on social media you guys are kind of playing it down. It's like, oh, well, some fast teams, and we're not really sure about this. And I'm like, look at these guys. They're being so humble. Like, I love them. But now we know. It's like, you guys are actually...
Banged
like,
up
it wasn't even being humble. It was like, oh, this actually might be a reality.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really good teams there. I mean, we were fighting against mostly Mathieu was racing in solo, but also William and Alexis was racing together. I mean, Alexis is doing a 10K sub 31 minutes, and William is a professional swimmer swimming on a very high level, and together they are super fast. So we weren't sure of anything. I mean, we knew we could do our race, and we had to do our race. So we set up a good plan, and plan A was to try to get a gap in the swims. We didn't manage. So we were with them, and then our plan B was to get a gap on. There's a very long run with a very long uphill, like in the middle of the race, after 2 hours. And our plan B for that race was to do a push in that long uphill to get a gap. And luckily, we managed to get a gap there because if they would have followed us down that hill as well, I don't know what happened. I don't know when we
were. It sounds like.
Yeah. It was a nice day, and it was a really tough day because I was not in good shape at all, like I mentioned. And in this uphill, at the beginning for this uphill, I was like, Max, it's going to be difficult. We need to find a way. and then he made the right move. That's how it is when you're in a team. It can be surprising, but he stayed behind. And he didn't take any lead in this uphill. He stayed me first, and he blocked them just to make sure that I was only one in front and no one pushing me or having me pressure on me in my back. But when it's him, there's no pressure. And thanks to that, I managed apparently to put a good pace. And just on the top of this, they blew out, and then we've been able to push in the downhill without anyone in the back.
Love it.
Amazing.
That sort of, I guess, race tactics, seeming spoken and unspoken, is that something that you all have sort of evolved since your training and racing together, or you just that's something else that you're really keeping at the forefront of your races? Is let's be very communicative about what each of us needs, or is it kind of a learning journey over the whole season that you all had about racing together?
If I can answer to this one first, sorry for that. But I think we for sure training helps us in this way. But we are always planning almost everything in the race the day before, so we almost knew how to react in during the day, and we are always really talkative, so we talk about a lot of things. But sometimes we also do some move without talking. For example, this one, I remember exactly at one point on the last part of this uphill, talking with Max and say, I know what you're doing. Thanks for that.
And Max is just like, shh,
he's like, don't tell anybody.
Just keep going.
I was struggling as well. It was hard. It was a good pace.
You will see. He's alive. He's always alive. What time are we going to wake up tomorrow? Oh, 7:30. Ringing. 6:45. Okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Here.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it really looks like you guys, have become really good friends, and it's great to see. You obviously go to Malta and handle your business there and achieve what no other men's team has done, which is just do the clean sweep on the whole year. I mean, how are you guys feeling about it? I mean, you're obviously
Incredible.
Proud. We have to be super happy with the result, but I'm curious, sort of, now that you've had some time to reflect on it, like, where does this stack up in your journey?
Obviously, first of all, very, very proud of it, and I think it will take some time to just land in this situation and feel proud of it. But then obviously we have been talking future as well, and I think we both feel that this year is such a good platform for moving forward and doing more things for swimrun as a sport and as a community, because I think it's growing very fast in some parts of the world, but it's still a small sport, if we are honest. I mean, compared to other sports. But I think we want to do what we can to make it an even bigger sport and to help and to inspire others. I think that's how we want to move forward from this. And with that said, we don't really know exactly how we will play in the future. We know we want to race together in the future and in the next season, but we will see what we do for what kind of project we're doing together. But I think we both are wanting to do what we can to make swimrun a bigger sport, basically, and make it more professional and get more people involved. And exactly what it is that we need to figure that out, I guess.
The main idea is just to continue having fun, for sure, first together, and second is find the best way to make the sports grow, and trying to make it more professional and having more visibility, and help it and give it back all he gave us this year. And he's still continuing giving us the best way, and find how we can do it the right way and help everyone which is involved in it.
Hopefully we will do a race in US next year. None of us done that before. That would be cool.
Well, that was going to be
Great
my
segue.
follow-up
Thank
thing.
you.
Because I'm on a mission to try to get as many European teams to come to Casco Bay, which is in Portland, Maine, which is pretty easy for you guys to get to from Europe. It's a nonstop flight to Boston.
July 9th.
I'll pick you up myself from the airport if that's what's required. to have to get like a bus or something.
You want a Low Tide Boys taxi to get you?
but yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
we'd love to have you guys come to the US and do what's one of our marquee races here. But yeah, I mean, we love what you're doing. I think we're all on the same page. There's a lot of people that are doing their part to try to help grow the sport. And I think the example that you guys set this year, if I can speak for Chipper, I mean, can only help but inspire people to want to try it and want to see what they're capable of, whether it's at the pointy end and try to, win, or if it's just going out there for the experience. So I guess on that rate, we want to say thank you for everything that you're already doing for the sport. And I'm curious, and this will be the last question, we'll let you guys go after this, is so what are your plans if you have them set for 2023? Do you have anything besides, I'm assuming we're trying to defend at ÖTILLÖ, any other races that you already have sort of put on the calendar?
There's many races. We didn't put. Maybe we put one, ÖTILLÖ, because we want to do sub 7 for sure. At least try. But this is, I think, the only one we really write down. Then we have a couple of ideas. There's a lot of good races in France, so it can be a good idea. We would love to do one in the US, but we need to find which one and how we can handle it, because it also costs money, and we are not having that much support. I mean, of course, Ark is helping us a lot, and thanks to them, we've been able to realize this year. But if we want to go in the US, for example, or anywhere else, in addition to some other races, we need to find a way to solve this. So we will work on this too, and that's a huge project we are trying to put on the table, and we need to answer a lot of questions before saying we will be there.
Fair enough.
Well, we wish you guys the best 2023. It's great to meet you. Thank you guys for supporting our show and everything that we're trying to do. I mean, you guys are super inspiring, and you're really easy to root for. So,
keep it up.
Yeah, and thank you for everything that you do for the sport. It's great. You're great guys.
Yeah,
well, thank you.
It's awesome. Let's continue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see you out there at some point.
We do, for sure.
For sure.
All right, guys.
All right,
take
thanks,
care.
guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Sign up for a newsletter at lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z. And check out our meme page at the Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any suggestions for the show or questions for us, send us a DM or an email at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of all our swim run activities, podcast, and other stuff.
Yeah, other stuff.
Way
to keep it PG. Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Go for a run,
Then another swim.
then another run,
And then another swim.
and then another run.
And then just keep going until you're done.
Till you're done. Or maybe can't
And then
stop.
stop.